This game, he got off to a great start at the beginning of the game, and that caused so many problems for them finish. Like, there's just no answer to it, where Twig is just over and over again just beating them down.
Twig looked great, and I'm sure Twig is going to be the one that ends up getting that MVP vote, but I do want to make sure that we do talk about iRaffer. I mean, he looked great for them that game, baiting himself like we've seen him do before, setting up for the rest of the team, and he's the only one that died. He died twice, and everyone else on his team lived. I mean, if you're the support, that's exactly what you want.
Well, this is a look at iRaffer, but what iRaffer was doing in this game was important because it allows, a lot of the time, Twig to be as aggressive as he is.
Yeah.
Think of how iRaffer used to be on NRG, right?
Yeah.
He allowed Adapting to do so much because he was there to cause a couple of problems himself. Twig going to the same sort of route for that game. This is a great look for Obey right now. They found something here that was so important.
Well, they got to be able to lock in on it, and a big part of it is Cubo Fred continuing to play as well as he just did.
Fred.
Or CaptainTwig, rather. Did I say Cubo Fred? Did I say Cubo Fred?
That's rude.
CaptainTwig is your
rude.
MVP here for this game.
Cubo can't play Raven like that anymore.
Of course he can. Are you kidding me? He's not in this set, obviously, but
well, he was for you, wasn't he?
Well, I'm saying if CaptainTwig is looking like Cubo Fred all of a sudden, but yeah, it's an excellent performance here from him in the jungle on this Raven pick, able to take down Yammyn just now as we saw. But I mean, he was really the one that was running the table. It felt like on this NRG squad.
And the one thing we've spoken about Obey all split is the fact that Twig doesn't really work well in this meta. He's having a hard time adapting to it. He was very good the last season because of the counter initiation that he was able to put forward for his team, let the other assassins go aggressive. But now the assassin is the focal point of this team. So you've got to make sure you play the aggression in the early stages to allow your team to get to that mid-late stage point where the rest of the team comes through.
Junglers are so important right now. Let's see if they do prioritize even the gods for them here in the picks and bans. We got them ready because it is game 3. Obey up against NRG. You might not have expected it, but Obey have NRG maybe feeling a little bit nervous.
They're on the ropes, that's for sure. I'd
Certainly.
say that much. At least with how that second game went. NRG can fly back in after a certain point in that one, but a lot of that comes from the first game. Reason being is because picks and bans changed dramatically from game 1 to game 2 based off what NRG were forced to ban out to deal with Obey. And then Obey ended up getting RTO, Terror, and that Raven caused a lot of problems. NRG back to the drawing board again. They think it's the Ra that's the issue.
And they've taken it away already. Obey going to remove the Terra selection. Actually, when iRaffer looked pretty strong on, so they're going to get rid of that one themselves. And then Thoth going to be the next ban.
They have to ban it themselves, though, because they're not first pick. That's the real key there, so take that away. A lot of things available, though. Dargy up again, Raven up. Achilles also available. Very, very opportune moment now for NRG to either look to strip something away Obey played previously or take something for themselves.
And this is very telling. They want to get this adapting on something that not only he's comfortable on, we know how well he plays it, but that he can carry the game on.
I'm a little bit confused about the Ra ban then. That's the only reason I'm like, because like if you're going to go for Circuit as your first pick, leave the Ra open because they take Ra, Circuit shuts that down pretty handily for the most part. Although, a lot of respect for Prime if they're going to ban that away.
Yeah, don't want to see him on that god. Cerberus going to be the selection for Obey, and no surprise at all to see them follow that up with the Achilles. iRaffer is the one that actually made it look pretty good in game 1 in the support role. Certainly an opportunity for that to happen again.
Yeah, he was top of the damage charts towards the end of that first game that he played it, so not a surprise to see him go back to it. Definitely variable, though. I mean, Cerberus can still go into the support role if required, and Achilles in the solo.
And that's something that's been really common here in Season 5. I don't know if it's just because we're at the beginning of the season or there's still, like, gods can kind of go anywhere, but there's been a lot of flex picks being prioritized as Sobek and Isis are going to be the selections there for NRG. A little surprised to see the Isis come out this early.
High CC. That's what we seem to be coming from NRG this time around. They want a lot of CC on this team. The Isis brings so much to the table, as does the Sobek. The Artemis again for Ataraxia. I mean, if it's not broke, don't try and fix it at the end of the day, so let him run that one back.
He did look good on it, especially towards the end of the game once he got a few items online. He didn't really need to worry about looking particularly good because of just how well the rest of his team was playing for him and putting him into a good spot. So certainly he'll be able to look comfortable on it this game as well, as the Cucullin is banned away from Obey. I know you were saying, Graham, you felt like the Cucullin maybe not as strong as he used to be.
He's slipping. You know, he's had a nerf or two, which was warranted for him. And then a few others have risen in the solo lane power in terms of like how survivable they are. Cucullin used to be very good at bullying the lane and then abusing it after the fact. Difference is now we're seeing a couple more Guardians over there that can sustain and be like, all right, cool, you hit me. Wow, grats for you. What are you going to do with that now? Nothing. All right, cool. I guess we're just going to sit here and keep whacking. Doesn't make as much of an impact as it used to.
Discordia going to be the next selection for Obey. That'll be the mid selection, very likely for Prime. with that Ra banned away, and almost immediately the Robin comes back out from NRG. Now a couple questions end up going out.
You're right, and that's a real interesting one now, is that Raven, is that going to be in the jungle, but Circuit's there? Or is it solo lane Raven, I guess is the other one? More than likely solo lane Raven's going to be the case here. But I'm surprised to not see Obey look for the Raven for themselves, unless Achilles, they were trying to hold it maybe to see what the whole comp was going to be, and maybe try and pick around it here, because Achilles definitely flexible to the jungle still here.
I don't know if we've seen a solo Raven yet here in Season 5. It's been almost entirely in the jungle, so I'd be excited to see it. Try one more time. Kronos, the last selection for NRG. They've even got a namesake skin for this one too, so certainly some comfort for this pick. And then Nemesis is going to be the last selection for Obey.
Oh, this is a tricky one to call.
It is.
I can't even call this.
I mean, you gotta feel like you're leaning towards NRG here, right? I mean, NRG have looked so great all split long. Obey's been slipping. I mean, this is a game, I want to make sure I clarify, of extra significance, I think, to these two teams, though. They're playing against former teammates.
Honestly, the problem is, though, is that Obey have outperformed NRG in both sets in terms of team fights.
I agree.
And how the start of the game went. The only reason NRG won game one was tactical prowess, is how I put it. This game, either way, I can't make a call here.
It is very close between these two teams, NRG and Obey Alliance. They're going into a Game 3. Tom and Tolly take the cast.
TNT, and this game about to be dynamite. Game 3 between two of the Titans that have finally reached proper Titanhood, I think. Watching the early parts of the season, NRG was there, and Obey just wasn't. But this set, Obey turning up.
It's definitely showing signs of improvement since even week number 2, because honestly, it was a 2-0 victory for NRG last time around, already stretching it to game number 3. Obey Alliance shifting things in the right direction. I love the fact that they also took away Giannis, really respecting that. That's why NRG took the first pick after losing game number 2, really wanting that mobility.
Absolutely. Will it be enough to get the win? That's the question here. That's the question I ask you guys directly. Put a cactus in chat first and foremost, but then after that, answer the question. We'll see how you guys are feeling, and we'll let you know the pulse of the community. But right now, EmilZy on the Circuit support. Went on NRG, right? Went in Rome.
That's true.
EmilZy, well, he's not quite in Italy, but he's certainly on NRG. This is the choice that iRaffer debuted to the world, making note of the fact that, well, Circuit doesn't need power to be effective. Obey and NRG. Now this is ships passing in the darkness.
True. They got spotted out, but they did not want to try to catch them in the middle of the pack whatsoever. Both of them running around side the Gold Fury, those pings coming through just to see where they're at.
These groupings are so unlike the groupings of yore. We're looking at teams that are trying to provide safety for themselves by grouping now. Once upon a time, back when you guys used to play, it was we're going to group up as 5 to surprise somebody and get the gank and get the kill and look for that post or pre-game kill. Here, we're actually seeing we want a ward. So we're going to go as a unit so nobody can get caught out. So I don't think it's aggressive. NRG with 69% of the vote. Nice.
Yes. NRG doing pretty good for themselves already so far this split. It doesn't really matter, I think, at the end of the day, if they lose to Obey Alliance here, even if they do in game number 3 here.
I disagree. Continue on your point, but I completely disagree.
I think like it'll boost Obey's Alliance more than it'll hurt NRG, as they will more than likely win their next set and then reach land.
Nils does not want to lose to iRaffer whatsoever. EmilZy,
he can laugh about it when he's at land and iRaffer's not.
Sure.
If that's the end game.
I
always got to
agree with
think
you.
about the end game, Tom.
You know what? EmilZy is the guy that actually will do that, but I think there are a couple of players on NRG that this game might be more important than, because they're already going to land, right?
Yep.
Sure. They're not 100% locked in, but totally, let's be frank, I'll be Jeff. They're clearly going to land, right?
It's possible that Dig knocks them out of contention.
Okay. Dignitas is relevant. They got to watch out for that one. But NRG, I think, there's something else outside of the Pro League that's on the line here. NRG came out, they 2-0'd Obey last time. It's really important for Obey to kind of strike back, and NRG don't want to lose this one whatsoever. This is a pride match for
Not
sure.
again for Yammyn here. Forced to use the wing gust just to disengage, return a little bit of fire with more mobility on the Isis as opposed to the Nuon. The previous game still gets away, but not too much mana to play with any longer in the laning phase.
iRaffer dealing some damage there against his old Lade partner. I think that's the most intriguing part of this is the fact that the supports were outright traded and now they play against each other with their opposing hunters. This has been one of the most intriguing moments of roster changes, I think, in Smite history.
I definitely feel like there is some warrant towards talking about that previous, lane partner, and, they have like some history between them. But at the end of the day here, when they're playing in the Battleground of the Gods, they're focusing on communicating every little thing with their teammates. They're not thinking about trying to get revenge on anyone else here.
I think you underestimate these players. I've known Emil for a while. There's adapting, blinking on the backside, looking for Twiggy. I think it's Slice and Dice that actually confirmed it. And now the dash, 1, 2, 3 basics are good. CaptainTwig making use of that passive. From the backside comes a little bit of help. Long range Spirit Ball won't find it, but a big madness. Yammyn, or PrettyPriMe rather, making great use of Discordia. One goes down. The secondary kill could be next. CaptainTwig on the chase. Wind Gust will separate him, so it's just first blood.
The 50-50 gamble that Adapting took did not pay off there. The life sustain that you get from the Assassin's Blessing, so important for those little skirmishes. If Adapting wins that one, it would have been a huge trade here. EmilZy, though, trying to run away. There's red buff getting stripped away. Without that speed buff, Adapting had to run. There was more health returned to Twig as a response, and then the secondary Slice and Dice. The overhead kick was used trying to avoid the unruly magic, but couldn't be used to finish off from Twiggy.
Great rotation from PrettyPriMe over there in the mid lane. It made exactly where he needs to be. And again, one of the bigger changes about this map is how many choke points there are in the jungle. Just lays down the landing strip. He's able to take care of business.
I still like the confidence, though, that Adapting had to try to take that 1v1, because both Slice and Dice and the Fists do a lot of damage. Adapting, respecting that, he tried to pull a fast one by using the root in between those two abilities, but because of the cast time between the root and the punch, there was plenty of time for Twig to do the Slice and Dice. I say plenty of time, but it's actually less than a second.
Sure, but that's what these players are used to. I mean, it's kind of crazy when you think about, high-end play, right? I always use baseball as the example. These guys are hitting all these, but right? You got 0.2 seconds to hit that ball when it leaves the pitcher's hand. And when you talk about esports, it's very, very similar. A lot of reaction time is like 0.2, 0.3. And not only do you react, you got to make a decision as well.
That's true. I was always told that in baseball, whenever you see the pitcher throw, you have the 2 clap sounds basically until it's going to hit the catcher's gloves.
Yeah, and that's putting it lightly. EmilZy taking it heavily into the face, and Obey Alliance get their second kill right here on the support circuit.
Just not a good look here for NRG to start off game number 3, the deciding game to see who's going to get that extra set victory to separate each other in the standings. Like I mentioned before, NRG still in a good spot to still clinch the land. Whether or not they win this, Obey definitely need to win this out and then hope that NRG and Dignitas do crumble.
iRaffer with a standout game in game number 1. iRaffer is very much like the Kobe Bryant for me. The basketball player was famous for performing well in a booing arena. And I think that's kind of where players like Weekend and iRaffer hit their stride. It's when they're on the opposing side of the fans. 69% of you think that NRG is going to win. Well, shouts to the remaining percent, because I feel like that's all I need, says players like iRaffer. And I like that kind of flair, man. I like players that fight into the absurdity and the adversity.
It's all about what you can, the little things that you can get out of all the aggression here. And I think that Obey Alliance are starting to pick up that slack here between some of the invades as well, stripping away that red buff in this game so far. They've been doing a good pacing, I would say, compared to their previous weeks even.
Obey Alliance just up until this point looked disjointed. Even with a couple of their wins, everything kind of just looked kind of hodgepodged together, sort of like the MacGyver team. Here, Obey Alliance, they look a little bit more gelled, a little bit more time in the kill, and things are looking a little bit more cohesive here. PrettyPriMe getting aggressed on by the support. Should be fine.
So unfortunate. I don't think EmilZy found a basic attack after applying all those poisons, so not going to get that heavy burst damage there. Didn't even need to pop the beads. PrettyPriMe feeling very confident about that one.
Exactly. Just PrettyPriMe sitting there. If he hits the basic, he's dead. Beads or not, right? So he's just sitting there like, all right, I'm either really dead or really alive. My beads aren't going to help me in this scenario. Might as well save them for a little bit later because unlike some of the mid laners, does not have that crowd control immunity on his ultimate.
And NRG not able to really get anything with the back from PrettyPriMe either. Right side mid Harpies are spawning. It's going to be a 3-on-3, 2 on the right side while both supports are kind of just dancing in middle. iRaffer getting the better end of it because he's just doing more base damage as a warrior.
And I love the positioning that iRaffer had, shying on the right side of this lane so that if he did see Adapting come into that choke point, able to stun him out and let the team go ahead and do the rest of the damage. Really nice heads-up play by iRaffer to stay on that side. Just be ready for if Adapting walks through there.
Just constant poke is the name of the game from Obey Alliance there. iRaffer really showing off that cone here. Gonna get stunned down for the moment. Not wanting to spend too much mana here because NRG wants to secure their own red buff.
That one's going to go down, so NRG will be able to give that to their mid laner, should they choose to do so. Yammyn, not really that interested in it, I guess.
Yeah. He's just trying to farm it up right now.
He's going to Emil.
Yeah. With Yammyn trying to finish off this Warlock staff, he's even more contempt about just freezing the wave. And if you're spending time by not clearing the wave, then what good is that red buff really doing you at the end of the day?
Yeah, that's certainly the truth. Gotta keep an eye on where you're using the power. emilitoo in this side lane has certainly tried to do so. Unable to successfully get there, though.
I wouldn't even be opposed to giving EmilZy the red buff here.
Sure.
If emilitoo's just going to be straight up farming anyway.
So I wouldn't say EmilZy simply because he's likely not going to be building into power. And although he's still able to bring the damage, red buff doesn't amplify your damage numbers, it amplifies your power numbers. Ultimate in the mid lane and Adapting barely gets ticked by that apple. Big damage on him. But that's an ultimate already expended.
It's going to force him to back prematurely probably, or at least farm out those back harpies to stay off ever so slightly. Nothing really to farm here as all the buffs have been stripped away. And that's where teams are going to start poking at these towers. That's what Obey want to do in the duo lane here.
Yeah, they're looking for all of this pressure. And there's the damage. Rewind is good. iRaffer will not find the execute. Looks like he held on to it for that moment. emilZy coming around the back end still gets taken care of by iRaffer. And it's number 3 for Obey Alliance.
Great patience, honestly. They could have looked for the execute under the tower during the rewind. There is that small window where you could look for it, but patience sometimes is a virtue, and Obey Alliance getting rewarded with at least a support kill.
Patience is absolutely a virtue, but perseverance is a beatitude. And Obey Alliance going back a second time, making sure to take care of the support. Very important stuff there. There's the blink forward from Adapting, trying to take care of the jungler. Fists will miss, and so he'll walk away without the kill.
I don't mind the purification beats because of the blink, but Twig now can't get out.
Oh, Madon. The push into the stun, into the kill. That's a beautiful look.
So I was talking about how I didn't mind the purification beats from Twig to get away from Adapting, but not having the beats to get away from EmilZy was not a good look in the slightest. Great pick off now, and look at what NRG are doing. As soon as they find one little pick, they go for a second one.
An inch into a mile, a mountain from a molehill, whichever analogy you want to go with. NRG, they're making the small the bigs, and things are looking good for the pink and white. You know, they change their colors so often. It's like pink, white, and black, right?
Yeah, it's marketing.
I'm going to call them pink.
I just wanted some more jerseys at that point.
I actually really love the fact that NRG, one of the few competitive teams that opt for the pink selection.
Yeah, there's not too many out there, but it's definitely a good color for them. They definitely make it work here.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love it. I'm trying to think. I think the Nuggets in the the Spurs in the early 90s, the San Antonio Spurs, an NBA team, had pink in their logo. They were kind of an interesting look. And Miami has some alternate jerseys, again, the National Basketball Association, with some pink in it. But I think NRG might be the one of the only professional organizations that have pink. The old Bucks, another basketball team, surprisingly all basketball. I think NRG might be the only current team in sports, traditional or E, that feature pink in their logo.
Great observation, Thomas.
Thank you, Anatoly. It's been a while since anybody called me Thomas.
You're welcome.
Sure. Thank you. It makes me sound pretentious, which is why I started calling myself Tom.
Still a pretty laxy-daisy game here from both of them until that happens.
The push into the stun, into the kill. Can we just replay what I said last time? Beautiful play, just exactly how it's drawn up. Textbook use of those three abilities.
They had the purification beads on cooldown. They knew when that was going to be available there from Twig. 10 seconds remaining, still dying about 10 seconds to go. Great communication all across the board. NRG's like, all right, we got his beads about this timer. Add 160 seconds to it real quick. We're going to go for him again.
Change here from game number 2 to game number 3 from NRG. Really important to stop the train. Obey Alliance got off to a great start and continued on, specifically CaptainTwig. NRG this time tried to invade, and, well, they're unsuccessful, right? But that's why they were trying to invade, to stop, to cut short what CaptainTwig was able to do in game number 2. And then Obey Alliance, like I said, they successfully thwart the invade and actually get a kill off of it, almost 2. But NRG kind of forced that stop out of Obey.
That's true, and they need to rely heavily on this kind of engagement from EmilZy. You pick Circuit's support for a reason here. You get the blink for a reason as well. If these aggressions don't pay out at the end of the day, then Obey Alliance's composition will eventually just overrun them by sheer, dominance and just well-rounded damage, well-rounded control. EmilZy making things happen thus far, but the problem only is that he's getting the kills, so it's not benefiting the team in terms of damage output on maybe objectives, but by giving him the bounty of the kills, now you're having a tankier Circuit to get into the backline and absorb more abilities.
Obey Alliance with the surprise Gold Fury. EmilZy gets there a little bit too late. And Yammyn just at base. That's probably why we saw Obey Alliance go for that sneaky gold. The fact that the Circle of Protection, which might be the best ability on the map right now to take care of objectives, either offensively or defensively, was actually technically on cooldown because the user of said ability was in the base.
Not able to really get that one off the board here as NRG can only watch from a distance. Still not too bad for them though, because they're only down about 2,000 gold. Make that 1,500 here. Trying to avoid some of the action is EmilZy. Not too much mana on Ataraxia, but the action is onto iRaffer.
And iRaffer gonna barely get away. The last breath ticking and adapting makes sure that one will be confirmed. iRaffer goes down off of a couple of ultimates. Yammyn adapting and EmilZy.
Ataraxia turning around, throwing a basic attack, slows his own movement speed and allows the Spirit Ball to catch up to him. Forced into the purification beats, and I guarantee you NRG took note of that. They're gonna gank Ataraxia once EmilZy's last breath is back off of cooldown.
All right. Definitely going to keep that one in mind. Great usage of the beads communication last time when they focused on CaptainTwig's nemesis. They killed him with 11 seconds left on the cooldown. Whenever teams actually, obviously they're in voice communication, but that chat is actually very important. That's where the teams will go ahead and drop that timer. When they get the beads, immediately they say beads in chat along with the timestamp so that you can do the math and figure out how many minutes you've got.
It was actually 14:42 that was done. And with that, you're looking at 2 minutes and 40 seconds afterwards. So you're looking at about 17 and change. 17:22 is when it's going to come off cooldown.
So before that point, NRG need to go ahead and make the play, and it's going to be after EmilZy's ultimate comes up, like you said. So we'll definitely keep an eye on Ataraxia there because without the, he does have the ultimate as far as CC immunity is concerned, and actually Tusky is a fantastic ult to really get out of jail.
The reaction time from Ataraxia has to be immediately once he sees the blink from EmilZy to pop that board and trying to run away.
And there's also a delay there from when Tusky actually goes ahead and hits. EmilZy going to be CC immune on top, so once he blinks and gets the ult off, even if Tusky's deployed, at best it's going to delay the stun. Actually, it might delay the stun, but we'll see how that one works out as and when NRG decides to go ahead and look for the Hunter.
A minute remaining on those beads. Not making the rotation on the left side of the map quite yet. Instead, just kind of bouncing here around the mid lane in case something happens. Wanting to make sure that Yammyn will be as safe as possible. Still working on those Warlock staff stacks.
Yammyn not playing the map as carefully as he might want. EmilZy shows up and gonna find a taunt.
Ataraxia spotted now. Could be a play here, but instead it's onto emilitoo.
Yeah, didn't even need the ultimate from iRaffer.
Wow.
A little bit of an overextension there.
Used the beads, couldn't have time to use the rewind there. Aegis was still available to him as well. I thought the action was about to happen onto Ataraxia, but instead it was on the different hunter.
Ooh. You guys know how much... All right. You guys know how much I love adaptation and watching players play smart. Damage from EmilZy, not enough to go ahead and take care of that. Got to give a shout out to iRaffer here. Started to rush the Gauntlet of Thebes, but he changed directions once adapting started to get kills and assists. Swapped over to the Sovereignty to give his teammates that extra physical protection to deal with that Robin. And it seemed to be enough. That placated the situation, and the jungler wasn't able to do what he was doing prior. Then, after he gets the Sovereignty online, now he's building into the Gauntlet of Thebes, and now he's able to build up these stacks. But that wasn't his original plan. Shifting into that itemization totally, I love to see players make those moves.
He might have backed with a lot of golden hand also, so he's like, all right, if I leave this at tier 2 and it gets sovereignty, it's also a better power spike for...
It was actually only at a tier 1 when he bought the
then.
This was a full reaction to the way that the enemy was playing, which is why I give him so much credit. Pyromancer to obey.
Because the tier 2 version is pretty cost effective there. iRaffer going to get plucked in, but the rest of NRG not really in position to follow up. But just for good measure, the sprint was used, making sure that iRaffer wouldn't be in a sticky spot.
4-4 read the kills here, but a 2,500 gold lead going the way of Obey Alliance. NRG, however, have been able to keep up with respect to experience, which might be the more important point here.
It definitely feels as though NRG or that Obey should be up way more than they are now, but the gold department doesn't really read that.
I think it had to do with adapting in the early game, totally.
Yeah.
His control with this Robin was really strong for a solid 10 or so minutes. And then Obey kind of took things away with repeated looks at the objectives. This time around, NRG are the ones that are going to start the objective with Obey on their front yard.
Trying to make something happen onto Twig. Will force out the blink out of the Obey jungler. EmilZy could get turned around, but going on a tanky circuit, a little easier said than done.
Obviously, the character's got all the mobility in the world. One of the most mobile gods in all of Smite.
Most individual mobile gods.
For sure.
When I look at mobility, I also kind of include like, all right, how much of an impact are you making for your teammates? Hebo, Giannis, Amaterasu, great teamfight accelerants.
Wouldn't that be utility?
Sure.
Meanwhile, I'm talking about metility.
He just did a in the air, guys, in chat. I just want you to let you know. I wish that we had a camera on you.
You're continuing this conversation, and it's going to lead to futility. So I'll continue with many-tility.
There's just too much tilities in the air for me to handle.
It's a titillating conversation. I understand that.
Yeah.
Obey Alliance trying to make the moves here in game number 3. You know, I'm really proud of that exchange.
That was a good one.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. We're going to probably get that one in the Esports Weekly next time.
Yes, by the way, new show. Monday mornings is when we have our new show, Esports Weekly, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. You're able to tune in and check out some of the highlights over the week. We have a little bit of fun. Hindu and Taco toss out their predictions, and we're keeping track. We're going to see who winds up on top. emilitoo dealing with iRaffer here. That's the right side of the map that everybody's going to be fighting over. Yammyn gets ulted by the Nemesis, but now adapting is going to be surrounded, and it's all about the Gold Fury that Obey take again. Objective-minded as always, and the black and white are seeing things in black and white because they're looking for the W. maniaKK fights back, but it's already 2 down. The rewind puts him right in front of Xaliea, and emilitoo's got to fight away because Ataraxia being chased down by solo laner maniaKK.
Needs to find the pluck, but lands on the trap. Twig takes out adapting on the backside. The sickening strike actually hits the wall. maniaKK is getting body blocked now. Huge plays from Obey.
Oh, still giving chase. maniaKK finally finds it. Ataraxia with a fantastic pathing there, but maniaKK still able to chase him down. Here comes Xaliea. The surround is good. This guy has to die.
It's a level 20 Sobek here. It's, like I said, very difficult to do. All the stuns in the world. Getting the sickening strikes off. Missing
Oh, no.
the
Kill
slice
him.
and dice. That's one resilient croc.
Thank you.
Shiver me timbers, Tom.
Not that I'm rooting against maniaK, just when I see that amount of resources dumped into a player, I want him to die.
That solo lane in a nutshell. Stygian Torment from Xaliea will catch emilZy, but great backpedaling from emilitoo. Just really understanding the radius of those big AoE ultimates.
Saw that one in the future. Lead change for Obey Alliance as they snatch control of this game away. 4,300 gold, and the experience lead now belong to Obey Alliance.
But 22.5 minutes in, this lead is not one that you could just run away with here. You can't fight 5-on-5 at the Fire Giant. You can't start sieging tier 2 towers with this kind of lead. You could still look for an advantage in the jungle side, trying to catch people slipping, however.
That's what you're looking for. You're looking for these disjointed team fights. One player isolated on the right and adapting is going to be forced out. Love where he backs, though. If his team needs to jump over the wall, adapting can absolutely do that. Just now, looking for the retreat, however. Is the Swedish jungler. Obey Alliance looking for the Pyromancer. Yammyn trying to say hi, but there is no answer. Obey pick up the portal guy, the artist formerly known as the portal guy.
We're gonna dive out Yammyn here. Soaking protection, not enough to keep him alive here. It's a 5-on-4 now. Obey Alliance are gonna push forward, but look where emilitoo is, split pushing in the mid lane, similar to that first game.
Right, that time the difference was Obey wasn't doing anything. The problem here for NRG as Emil looks for the split push is Obey is active. They got the Pyromancer. Now they're looking at a team fight after the fact, and that's gonna drag the Chronos player back over here.
Trying to find even more damage here. Jumping over the wall here is adapting, is trying to overhead kick onto Ataraxia. Not going to be taken out quite yet until finally emilZy's there with a cleanup.
Tusky providing so much help. What a great team fight ultimate that is to have as Obey Alliance. PrettyPriMe going to take down maniaK. emilitoo forced into the rewind. He's safe for now. But Obey Alliance on his heels. Blink forward from a Xaliea. Going to dodge it out. But still coming with the control. The damage has been looked and turned around until CaptainTwig with the slice and dice. He's not rolling nothing. No gamble whatsoever. That was calculated. Twiggy knew it was going to him, and the mid laner survives by health from iRaffer as he taunts Nils back to base. Baker's dozen for Obey after that one. And the tier 2 tower gonna fall.
4 for 1 and an objective. This is how you start forcing things here, Tom. You get adapting to back, you poke him out a little bit, and then you force a team fight. Luckily for Obey Alliance, also, emilitoo wasn't in position at the start of that team fight trying to split push. Got the tier 1 mid, didn't want to overstep his boundaries by going for the tier 2, even though he made the rotation happen in the short lane, as opposed to where CaptainTwig was backing to defend that split push. It didn't really matter because he was in the middle of everyone. The team fight was basically over by the time emilitoo got there.
Exactly. So the biggest point was last time, Obey Alliance put their hands in their pockets for 10 minutes, and Emil said, you know what? If you're going to do nothing, I'll do something. He went for the split push. This time around, Obey was doing something when Emil opted for the split push.
This Artemis is very fruitful right now for Obey Alliance, making the things happen here on Ataraxia. Just the sheer damage that he's doing to objectives. He doesn't necessarily have to deal damage too much to players because NRG have to respect the ping pong mechanics from the Tusky.
I like how Obey sort of doubled down here as well. Game number 1, they had 0 tower presence. CaptainTwig on the Hun Bats and his Hunter on the Raijin. Now, Obey go, all right, that was so problematic. We're going to take an Artemis with Vengeful Assault, 70% attack speed at max rank on that steroid. And also CaptainTwig, who is going to be building into attack speed, and this character does well against structures as well.
At this point in the first game, they were knocking down the Phoenix door of NRG, trying to force a fight there, but this time around playing super safe, wanting to strip away all the towers and get the full value from the Fire Giant buff. I really respect how Obey Alliance are able to take such a lackluster end towards the first game to not only flip it on its head in game number 2, but being able to be in the total driver's seat in number 3 as well.
Bringing back to the point that you mentioned just before about the fact that they're making sure to take care of all the towers, right? This is fundamental Smite. And I think what happened to Obey Alliance when they got iRaffer on this team was that iRaffer had come from a squad that he had played with for years and years, and that squad was developing advanced strategies. NRG on the chase here. maniaKK gonna find the pluck, but it's beats out by Ataraxia. The turnaround fight is strong. Obey Alliance thinking about the re-engage. CaptainTwig here has the blink, cuts him down. Slow is strong, but the jump away from EmilZy is
Xaliea,
good.
the backline onto everybody, forcing out so many defensive relics. Circle of protection, and Aegis buying time. A will pop, keeping him alive.
And there's a continuation. iRaffer takes out ex-teammate Yammyn. And the tier 2 tower gonna fall here. Obey Alliance still pushing forward. Xaliea and iRaffer leading the charge. The bird in trouble. iRaffer also providing some of that help as a warrior. And the left side Phoenix will be history.
Obey Alliance are in position to beat out NRG here for the first time this season.
Loving it, Toli. Loving it. Absolutely loving it. And I think it's about a return to basics. This team, I was starting to mention it. NRG had their own style of play. iRaffer come to Obey, who have their own style of play. But with a new support, you've got to adjust and adapt. They were trying to go with those advanced strategies. Today, it's back to basics. They're doing the fundamentals. They're taking care of the towers. They're winning the team fights, and they're looking for the Phoenixes. Half HP already thanks to Ataraxia's focus on the objective.
Shell
and
was
now
good.
Obey Alliance trying to fight in here.
Shell was good to keep them alive a little bit longer here to continue the siege, avoiding a lot of damage being dealt from maniaKK's ultimate. Trying to get the second bird here. It's less than half health already. 5 members stand strong from NRG. Responding was Yammyn. Circle of protection not quite available to defend this, however. Now it is.
Yeah, I'm going to have that tool. One of the best tools to play defense here. NRG, 6 slotted. Gold lead, irrelevant. Obey Alliance making what could be the final push of the game. Here, the final push of the set. Ataraxia gonna force down EmilZy. Cirquette support down for the count. emilitoo in trouble. Double kill for Nate. And they're gonna keep pushing forward. Left side Phoenix gone. Right side Phoenix gone. emilitoo is gonna be gone. And the Titan is the focus. Obey Alliance in week number 5. They're gonna be able to go ahead and take care of NRG.
Taking the first step towards potentially clinching into the LAN here. They're still mathematically possible to get into the LAN.
They just need everyone else to lose.
Pretty much.
We'll see how things work out for NRG as the season progresses, but right now, I posed a question. Who is the MVP? And this one I think is a tough one to answer. I think Ataraxia comes to mind here, just a great job on that Artemis, but everybody really doing what's due. I think you might even nod towards Xaliea.
I was going to go towards iRaffer, actually, for that game specifically. He was just always doing so much poke damage to ensure that his team would follow up afterwards.
I don't hate it. In fact, for the set, I think you could easily say iRaffer. For this game, a little bit more tough to decide. That's why I'm not going to do it. I leave it to the desk.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Toli. Finch and Graham here. Now we're going to be taking a look. Can you believe it? Obey Alliance able to take down NRG 2-1 in what was a surprisingly close set.
They're back. I mean, they're on the way back. Obey have just taken just taken a little bit too long to get to this point, unfortunately, for the Obey fans, though, leaving them in a very tough predicament still to try and make it to land. But it's good to see they're starting to close off and round out those issues that they've been having at the start of the season. It's great for Obey. NRG just got outperformed there.
This is why double round robin is so important, Graham, because you get to see them play again. You get to see these revenge matches where we get to find out if they're able to come back in and perform again. Obey, they were able to do it. This is important, though. Are they going to be able to make it back to the top of the bracket so they can make it to land? That's the question. They still have a chance to do that. They still can make it, but they kind of need all the stars to align.
Yeah, the big thing for me, though, in that set is the MVP votes that we do every single game. We don't do one for the whole set, but realistically, I would go iRaffer. Like, for the whole set, with how he played game 1.
He looks really comfortable in Achilles.
Achilles was amazing. That was the best game of Achilles I've seen. Like, period. Out of anybody so far. It's the best one that looked there. Game 2, he made big impacts on the Terror. Game 3, he was making impacts again. Like, for the set, it's iRaffer. For the individual game, it was definitely a tough tough call. There was a lot of people involved in that one that I think could have taken the win.
Well, it is going to be iRaffer that is selected as your
I wasn't expecting that.
MVP.
I
So
was not
Mixer Chat
expecting
agreed with you, Graham. They've selected here iRaffer, getting a little bit of a
That's
peek
a better
here.
pitch.
And
Pull that
Finch,
back.
we're the real
Pull that
MVPs. Come back
back.
to us. Yes.
Pull that back. It looks better without
Finch
Finch
and
on the
Graham.
screen. I like that.
What?
It looked good. It was just being Raffer.
Now let's find a way to get Graham out here and just make it a solo. When you come back, just leave it on the solo for me for the whole desk. It's just Finch from here on out. No more Graham. But yes, Raffer looked excellent here in this set. You're right, and I wasn't giving credit to it, but he looked great on the Terra as well. Raffer, it feels like to me, might be back.
Well, he was already there anyway, but because the rest of the team is still starting to gel together,
Really? Is that how you feel?
Synergy. Yeah, I think Raffer's not
Wow.
really changed his style at all. He just guessed that his style wasn't meshing with the rest of the team's style at first, and now it's starting to get there. The cohesion's forming. You can feel it. You can see it.
Yeah, it really looks like this Obey team is back to form right now, and I'm excited to see it. NRG, though, got a little bit to work on. To talk more specifically about that game, how did you feel about the Circuit support that was the selection there for EmilZy?
I felt it was awkward to begin with, but I could understand the mentality behind it. They were using a lot of in and out possibilities with their composition, so everyone would dive in and everyone could dive out as well. Raven, for example, a lot of gods that had the ability for mobility to get around. Problem is that if you get behind in the early game, it really puts a bit of pressure on you early, and then it causes more problems. And Artemis was like level 6 when the dual lane was both still level 4. Kind of takes away where Artemis is weak because she's ahead of you.
Able to get off to a good start, but we've had some upsets here or there, at least some surprising matches potentially, this last one at the very least. Let's see how everything is shaking down in those standings. Where does everyone wind up after those first two sets? Remember, we still have a third set to get to, but it is going to be Dignitas who's up at the top. NRG, though, have dropped down a little bit now.
This screen Finch is really important because everyone's now played 2 sets as of this very second before NRG take on SK a little bit later on. 10 sets is the maximum you're going to play this split. So that's when you've got to work out now. If NRG win this game, that puts them top against SK, but then the other 2 teams have got games as well.
Yeah.
That loss to Obey could actually cost NRG coming to land.
It's very difficult for Obey to make it to land, but NRG needed every bit of those wins that they could get because Dignitas and Rival have looked so strong. I think they're the first ones to lose outside of the top 3.
Exactly.
That's what's going to hurt them so much, but we just said NRG's going to be playing again later on today, Graham. Let's go ahead and take a look at the schedule one more time so we can see not just that matchup, but remember how important that matchup was earlier today where Dig was able to beat SK. We said you got to be able to clean up these matches you're supposed to win.
Yeah, I think NRG are going to come out all guns blazing in this one against SK. This feels very much like a style NRG have done before where they get beat or drop a game and then adapting is angry.
That's one of the worst matchups. NRG after they've lost a set. I don't know if we don't track stats like that, I don't think, but I bet NRG after they lost a set, that's one of the hardest sets to win, I imagine.
For sure. It's going to be a tough one for SK here. I mean, they've had a tough road already. Although, if they do beat NRG here, that kind of puts NRG to bed almost.
I think they'd be out, yeah, if NRG lost. Maybe not mathematically, but it would be very difficult to get back in.
Definitely going to be the case there. And then one thing I'm going to be looking forward to now is like how the rest end up falling out. Because obviously, Obey looked great today.
They did look great today. In particular, Raffer looked great from them, and we actually have an interview with him standing by. And Graham, I can't think of anyone I'd rather hear from more after that surprising set. Let's actually go ahead and get it over to that interview with Raffer.
Thanks a lot, guys. And yes, I am here with I'm here with support player for Obey Alliance. It's Raffer. It's been a while, man. How you doing?
I wasn't sure then if you were going to say CaptainTwig, Captain Raffer, or Captain anything else.
Well,
but yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. You can call me Captain. That's fine too.
You've been captain of your NRG squad for so long. I mean, going back, I remember covering you in the Challenger Cup Panthera days. Now, switching things up. That's the first question I'm going to ask you is straight up, what's it like to leave a team that you've been on for so long and then come here on one of the new squads?
It feels good. Like, it just feels like a time when you can just let your hair down. You know, you've been on a team, you've had this much pressure on you, and you go on to another team and, you know, you're back to square one. And my favorite part of it is just that every single member, I'm pretty sure, enjoys playing together in Obey, and that is what I've wanted for a long time. And to have that again, win or lose, not qualify to LAN or go to LAN, it doesn't matter. My end game is Worlds. I've probably answered a lot of your questions in this one sentence, but but you know, that is the way I feel. The way I feel is for the long term and just to have fun with my teammates. Like, I don't care if I win or lose. Unless we're against NRG, then I have to beat them. as you can see.
I knew that one. I was going to say, where's Craig? All right, there he is. I knew that was somewhere in there. Now, you talked long-term, and I don't know if you've been following my stuff, but that's kind of what I've looked at you guys from the beginning. I saw the trade with EmilZy and what went down for NRG. I kind of figured that your play style would take a little bit of time to really get going with Obey. Without giving away too much, what can you tell us about the inner workings of the team and how you clicked with what Ataraxia brings?
If you go back to like the first and second weeks of me playing, like, I was just awful. I hadn't played Smite enough, nowhere near enough, and I could tell my team was frustrated with that in different ways. But I feel like our future is just going to be late game. You know, we're going to be going for the long run, and we just want to win worlds. That is our main thing. Even though we will be bringing every single game, we'll try our hardest. We've got so many people on the roster. We're all experienced, and we just want to win this.
The learning experience probably in these early stages, no?
Pretty much, yeah. It is learning. You know, it's Ataraxia playing aggressive more sometimes, me peeling some other times. You know, there will be these small issues that we have came across, and I think the main thing is recognizing these mistakes. And I'll call Nate out, he'll call me out, and we know straight away, and you know, we respect it. And it's not just me and Nate. You know, it happens. There's a different meta. People play differently in a new season, and I feel like we're adapting very slowly. But as from that set and the set before, you can see it slowly working to the positive results.
Absolutely. You guys are looking really clean out there. iRaffer, before we go, I want to give you a chance to, give a shout out to anybody out there watching.
I'm going to give a shout out to NRG because I know they enjoy their gifts so much. So I have a nice little present waiting for them on my Twitter.
iRaffer, never change. Support player for Obey Alliance, previously of NRG, if you didn't get that jab. Thanks for joining us. We're going to be back in just a moment. We've got one more match, NRG versus SK.